All right, welcome back to another week of the Ice Mac podcast. We did get at least a good time during the week to record, which is a good start for us. But
I don't know if what is it, 8:30 my time is qualified as good time, 6:30 yours, but still we find a normal weekday to actually record this week.
yeah, I mean, listen, it's better than the day of the fight, so
Yeah.
it's
And posting
progress.
it
We're
what,
making
2 hours,
big.
3 hours before the card starts?
Yeah, and listen, we got to find a time during your first week of work too, so that's at least we were able to do that. How's it been going, man? How's work going?
It's good. It's different. It's very different for than what we're used to, but it's a different kind of energy, a higher level of energy that I absolutely needed. So I don't want to go too far into the personal stuff, but
Yeah.
it has been going good. We're settling in. My mother and my grandma are coming into town tomorrow night, and my little brother. So that'll be fun. Um,
Yeah, well, at least for this next, 45 minutes to an hour, you get a view of the old crib because that's
yeah,
where that's where I'm at right now.
the old dungeon.
Yep,
Oh
yep.
man. But all right, so relatively just as a forewarning, most of this is going to be a show focused on what we've already seen. We have two fights of prediction, but there's so much to talk about from 291. Tough was actually a decent episode in my opinion, but we started all with something that is almost become a running bit within this podcast, which is Conor McGregor getting on social media and just not shutting up. It's exhausting.
He's off the proper 12, bro.
He always. When is he not off the proper 12?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
It's either the proper 12, the roids, or the snow.
I'm about to
Unconfirmed
say.
on the snow, but
I think
like,
he's I
come
think
on,
he's
we can.
been I think he did a proper 12 bumps before he got to his Twitter account because he after Justin Gaethje beat Dustin Poirier, well, there's a multitude of things here because not only was he calling out Justin, subsequently putting Chandler on the back burner, um, but he also went on to a funny little tirade about saying Dustin's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, which like, dude, seriously, you haven't fought in like 3 years. Just please shut up.
So
Please stop.
I will say, in regards to the Dustin thing, the
Don't say it.
case is not bulletproof. He is a Hall of Famer to me, but
Okay. At least, all right. At least
he is not a first ballot like what they just did with
Cowboy.
yes, with Cowboy. He's you don't do that. You don't do that with Dustin, in my opinion.
I would argue that Dustin deserves it more than Cowboy does, but
Or no, was it Robbie that they did that for?
well, I mean, Robbie, well, were they like in his retirement fight, they were like, "You're in the
Yes.
Hall of Fame." Yeah,
Yeah,
Robbie deserving of that.
that's what
Cowboy,
I'm saying. He Dustin's not in that. I
okay,
agree.
yeah, I
Cowboy
agree.
probably wasn't in that either, but I personally am a huge Cowboy guy. Dustin should probably be in a year or two after he retires.
Yeah, I can get with that. And as a Dustin fan, I can
Yeah,
agree with that take. Yeah.
yeah. Or you put a couple of his fights in the Hall of Fame. But either way, the giant big focus of this was that Conor McGregor just doesn't. Whenever the spotlight is directed anywhere else that could feasibly be drawn to him, he's going to grab the light fixture and pull it back with all of his strength and make sure you're focusing on him, which is very annoying at this point. We're doing a disservice to ourselves by bringing it up every time it happens, but it's Connor. Connor brings money.
Biggest star in the sport, man. You gotta do it. But it's God, imagine being Michael Chandler right now.
Dude, I
Imagine putting up with that for a full season of tough just to not get the money fight.
Well, and you watch all the like Connor nut huggers on like social, and they're like, "Well, Mike didn't draw. He wasn't a star. This, that, and the other. That's why he's not getting the fight." It's like, no, man. Well, who was he supposed to be going up against? Your boy wasn't even on the show.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
he can't argue with Kavanaugh. Like, is that what you want to see for 8 weeks of television? Him argue with John Kavanaugh? No, absolutely not. But while we're already here, let's talk about tough. My favorite part of this episode was the wild Islam Makachev appearance.
yeah, that was cool.
And
But
why does he seem like he has so much like swagger for like a Dagestani? Like he does not like he seems very like gangster. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, when you're just like that good, you're just that much better than everyone else.
But
Like
like he's
what
from the Habib camp,
I know.
and Habib was never really like that.
No, Habib wasn't, but I think, dude, a lot of people like, and I guess it was the same way with Khabib, but it still feels like a lot of people are doubting Islam Makhachev, especially after the Volkanovski fight. You just saw I saw on Twitter or X also, Elon, you're
Yeah, it's
pissing me off,
garbage.
dude.
That's so
You're
garbage.
pissing me off. But that's neither here nor there. I'm still gonna call it Twitter. I saw on Twitter that Michael Chandler has like a long history of picking against Islam in his fights, going back to like Dan Hooker,
Yeah.
which is crazy. I think
Yes.
that's so funny. But I think when you have that many people doubting you still, and you've beaten Charles Oliveira cleaned out everyone before Islam beat the shit out of Charles, or submitted Charles rather. So I would kind of be letting people know, like, you whether you like it or not, I'm the shit, you know?
He was like, I'm here. It was just funny because like the way he was like talking to Tamur was just very like, yeah, I guess I'll see if I feel like it. Like it was
Yeah.
just, I don't know. It was just very like I still obviously I figure Islam's a pretty stand-up dude, but
Hmm.
it was definitely a different vibe than what I expect from, like the very locked in, trained, like kind of in their box and don't really show much of anything, to media or to whatever. It was much more relaxed from Islam than I think I was ever expecting to see while he was a fighter.
Hmm.
But do you really have anything besides the fight from this episode?
Yeah.
Because
It was a close fight.
very
I'll
good fight.
It was a great fight. Yeah. Obviously, I'm going to be partial to Timur
Mhm.
because I took him to win, but that's not a decision that I'm upset with. You
No,
know?
I thought Tamura won, but it wasn't like a very definitive. Like it should have been a split decision, like it
Yeah.
was. And round one was incredible.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a war, and also Katona got gashed so early.
Yeah. Katona, I had gained a ton of respect for him in that fight. And, normally I would have been like, all right, it was a robbery. Like Timur got robbed. But the way Katona fought in that made me at least appreciate how he fought, and be content with him getting the win in that fight.
Oh, for sure. I will say, I do think Katona had a slightly unfair advantage coming into this
Yeah. Yeah.
because
I know where
he
you're going.
he knows how Chandler's team trains. He went back to his traditional trainers and got to switch away and basically be a mole for his own fight, being like, hey, I've watched Timur for the last 5 weeks. This is what he does. This is this, that, and the other. This is his game plan. How do we get around this? Whereas Timur only knows what he got to see and is still with the same people.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, they train together. So, like, it's not like he's going in blind or anything. But I feel like there was a certain level of not being super satisfied with being allowed the team switching, especially in that instance. But whatever, fight game's the fight game. If the game plan that late into the fight game made that much of a difference, the fight and those fighters were already very close.
Well, and you also think about Connor's team still being alive long
Yeah.
term, or having one of Connor's fighters in the final. Like, I'm
The
not
most
saying
Connor fighter
like
of the
it
whole
fully
season.
impacted the judging, but like it could
Yeah.
have a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like they're probably pretty skeptical about Rico.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
like
what it could be.
you do need to kind of protect your assets, and Katono is the only man outside of Rico that's going to represent the team. But Katona was the most Connor fighter in the whole season, despite not being on his team for most of it. So it is what it is. But that's really all I have from Tough. I'm excited for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be fun for sure. And they got in the final is at 292, right? The
Yes.
final fight. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
Um,
292. sweet also. But
All right,
that's
ladies and gentlemen, my mic's over here, so I'm not just like leaning over to the camera, but we have a clean sweep. I'm not gonna get too braggadocious like you did at the beginning of the year, but
I did get too braggadocious.
yeah, that's a lie.
I think it was more because you were struggling and
Yeah,
you had a horrible start to the year. Like
yeah,
this was still like, listen, I went 500 on this fight card. Like, you know
yes.
what? We'll take that and run. But
I
like
was
you had
I
some
was going
cards.
like 3-7 across 10 picks. Like it
Yeah,
was not
like
pretty.
those were some. But you know what? I'm always if you dish it out, you got to take it. So
Yeah,
you went 6-0.
I
You
did.
can do what you want, man.
Well, my favorite part of this whole ordeal is that the last fight to keep me from clean sweeping, to put you above 500, was your boy versus my boy, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. But Justin Gaethje is simply different. What did I say? In our last week's episode, I said, I want somebody who lives in war, not somebody who's willing to go to war. Justin Gaethje went and lived in war and then did that beautiful little sneak shot with the kick and put Dustin out.
The thing that hurts me the most about that fight, it's not even that Gaethje won. It's that Gaethje knocked Dustin out cold early
And then
because
Herb Dean slid on top of him and dropped the elbows.
yeah, the people's elbow from Herb Dean to officially end it. But it wasn't that Gaethje won. It was the way that he won. That really just that's eating at me a little bit. I didn't expect Dustin. I didn't expect Dustin to get caught like that. I expected whoever won. I expected that fight to go into the championship rounds, and it was over before I knew it.
He went to bed. But quickly to divert from the fight, can we please get rid of the slip and slide sponsored by Monster in the middle of the octagon?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
don't understand why,
Just
like,
put it
why
on
can't,
the outside of the cage.
or if you're going to have it, put the coloring into the actual mat.
Yeah,
It does not need to be a sticker, or else Herb Dean is going to concuss a fighter like he almost did Dustin Poirier.
yeah,
That feels pretty simple. Laser that shit. You guys are a bajillion-dollar company at this point. Figure it
yeah,
out. Like you
yeah,
shouldn't still be putting stickers over the top of your mats and be like, "This will do." It's kind of ridiculous. Okay,
yeah. If if you can't pay the fighters, at least pay for their safety in the octagon. How about that?
right. It'll save you on medical bills, I promise, Dana. So Justin seems to be pretty automatic to be Islam's next challenger.
After Charles.
Yeah, but dude, I don't get him out of here. We do not need to see that again.
Dude,
I I like Charles, but not enough to make
I
me.
love Charles. I don't think Charles is going to win, but I would love if he did.
I think Islam. I don't want to give too much of my prediction away, but I think Islam's going to feel very disrespected by this, and we're going to see it. But regardless, what happens with Dustin now?
I think
Because he didn't retire.
no, I think it that's a good question. I think now maybe you have Dustin fight Beneil since they're both coming off losses.
Yeah,
But like
I don't love
you
it.
can't I don't love it either, but I don't it's not like did you see what he said? He said he's only going to fight guys that like excite him and blah blah blah.
Oh,
That
he's
means
Wonder Boying.
yeah, so that means none of the up and coming fighters qualify for this. Beneil is the only guy in the top 5, right? Who's been around for a while because it's Islam, Charles, Justin, Dustin, Beneil.
Does he mean excite him as in like he thinks he'll have a good fight with him? I assume so,
I'm
right?
yeah, I think so.
So,
But like
so
I
potentially they'll
don't
have
think
Gamrot and Fazeev.
yeah, Fiziev would be a fun fight. I'd actually like to see that a lot.
Like I would think just brawlers, because like Beneil, I mean
Yeah,
I
good
mean
jujitsu.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
about to say we know what his hands can do. We bring that up once a month,
yeah.
but
Unless they just decide to run Dustin and Mike back now that Justin could potentially be fighting.
So what? So Mike can go, or so Dustin can go 0-2 against my boys over his last two.
1-1 right
I'm
now.
I'm no, I'm
So
saying if they rebook it.
that's just not gonna happen. Dude, we've seen it less than a year ago.
Yes.
Okay. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Well.
I know you're riding a high right now and you're happy and you're 6-0 and that's great. I'm happy for you,
Thank
but that's not
you. What else is great about me? Let's keep on talking.
it's not gonna.
But but didn't you hear Mike Chandler had a deviated septum, so he's getting that fixed, and so he's gonna beat the crap out of Dustin Poirier.
Stop.
Deviated septums are the number one cause of future
No,
world
no.
champions in the UFC. All right, let's keep on trucking. Alex Pereira or Pereira. I hate that name because I never know if it's supposed to be Pereira or Pereira.
I
Um,
think it's I think it's because I always thought it was Pajeda, but
yes,
then John Anik told me that it's Pereira.
yes, but
So
there's still some of them that pronounce it Pereira.
yeah, I know. But I've said multiple times, John Anik's word is above all else for me.
It's
So
essentially gospel.
if that's how he says it, that's how I'm saying it.
Um, bottom line here, Alex won that fight, and you know it.
I see this. I don't agree. I do not agree. The first round was clearly Jan. The
That's fine.
second round, fine. Okay, Pereira probably got that one. The third, I thought the striking battle was close enough to the point where that takedown made a difference and won Jan that round.
Yes.
I was pretty stunned to see that Pereira won that fight. That's
Well,
how I feel.
and I understand the logic, but I've said it multiple times on this podcast. A meaningful takedown means next to nothing for me, or a meaningless takedown. Sorry, Jan, his third round takedown meant nothing to me because it was like it was a desperate attempt to get out of the strike zone.
I understand like where you're coming from, but I'm saying when when you have a fight, when you have a round that close, that
Mm-hmm.
was striking the whole way, something needs to separate one guy from the other. And to me, that's what that takedown did.
I like I said, I put it as a net zero for me, so it just goes back to the striking game, and I think Alex won by a narrow margin on in round three.
That's fine, but whether you like it or not, even if you take someone down and lay on them, the takedown still should factor like it should factor in at like that's all I'm saying. I thought it was a super close round, and if you're looking for to decide a winner of that round, it should be the guy who maybe all right, the guy who landed maybe, three or four less significant strikes, but got the takedown. I think that's a deciding factor.
I don't know. Well, in our text, I compared it to like when you see like an actual like parking lot fight. Typically, the dude who goes and tries to take out the legs and tries to make it a ground thing and just try to hold the other guy down usually was absorbing much more significant shots because
I
that
get
guy is
that,
like,
but
I don't
it's
want to get hit anymore.
yeah, but it's Jan wasn't taking any more crazy shots once he got that takedown.
No, but it shows damage throughout the fight. And it's an issue of Jan got beat up more than Alex did, which
I disagree.
overall,
I I disagree with that. It's Jan has a wrestling game and Alex doesn't. So why wouldn't you take the avenue where you have the clear advantage? He held him down all of the first round. Why like that's I've
because if the advantage is
game
that
plan
clear, why
wise,
not
I
do it
think it
in
makes
two?
sense.
If the advantage is that clear, why not do it in two? And then why not
Well,
do
he tried
something
to do it at
meaningful
two and
with it in
Alex stuffed
three?
him.
Then why not do something meaningful with it in three if you're that far ahead? It's just,
I think he I
nah.
think he tried a couple times in three. I might be wrong, but I think Alex stuffed him, but then he got one through. Like I don't know. I don't think it was a matter of Jan is tired of striking. I think Jan was trying to find a way to definitively win that fight, which I think it did for him. Clearly, other people didn't. You and two judges. So
It just didn't mean
I
it.
was I was upset. I thought Jan got robbed in that fight, but that's just me.
Nah. Well, here's one thing. There was no indecision on our next fight.
No.
Derek Lewis. So we did kind of talk about the fact that it feels like it will probably be a miracle come from behind, crazy throw. It wasn't a come from behind, but it was absolutely a miracle crazy throw because he just drove his knee through his face immediately into the fight.
Dude thought he was Jorge Masvidal and
Yeah,
just the flying knee off the bat. And you so you should have. I wish you were there at my place when we were watching these fights. You should have moved a week later, bro, because I had some people from work over and we were all just going insane for Derek Lewis. Like we were so fired up. And when he took his pants off and started whipping him around and just like he did a lap around the octagon, that guy is priceless. I love him so much.
he's just a different creature. And like, I mean, the knee, I want to know what went into his camp and what the backup plan was if that didn't land. Because if
There's the game plan for every Derek Lewis fight is the same, and
yeah,
it's to find the one shot. So
yeah, but if that misses, then he just like is just a ball on the ground. He's probably losing right there.
maybe we'll never know.
We won't,
We'll
and
never
that's a very
know.
fortunate place to be because Derek Lewis is conscious and took no damage, and we love Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. I would. Is this your most heartbreaking, or was it Dustin?
Oh, Dustin hands down was the most heartbreaking for me. I love that guy. That's I mean, yeah.
But
But
Tony, like I
if
know
it,
there's a lot of nostalgia attached to Tony.
I it's what I expected. I know I picked him, but like in the back of my mind, I knew this was probably not going to end well. I did see some stuff about like that eye poke changing the fight a little bit, and I don't know how much it actually did. Tony did get a knockdown in that first round though. So
He did. It definitely discombobulated him, but it didn't seem like it was affecting him
yeah,
after like a minute or two. Now, granted, 60 to 120 seconds in an octagon can make all the difference. But I I don't really think that this is like I don't think it's an escape hatch for him. I is he gonna fire his camp? Because doesn't he does that like after every loss.
dude, he needs to retire is what he needs to do. The fact that he didn't lay him down after that fight is astounding.
Well, he came out on social and was just like, I've got more in me. So we're gonna get another Tony fight. I
He's got to
just
stop put. He's got to stop putting us through this, man. It's
yes.
crazy.
Well, and now that Bobby Green is kind of his region of opponent, I mean, he's gonna get fed to some young guy. Because I think even Dana at this point's like, okay, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe they'll cut Tony and let him go fight in Bellator or PFL or something and be done with it. Hopefully,
Yeah, I don't know how much success he'd have in those other promotions either, but
he
I
wouldn't.
mean
But at least
we've
it's
seen
not on
what
the UFC's dime whenever he eventually gets his head ripped off.
yeah. I mean we've seen what other UFC guys have done in like old UFC guys specifically in PFL. Like they've had a pretty hard time.
Yes. I'm about to say, I think the only one successfully that immediately jumps to my mind is Yoel, kind of, and that's in Bellator.
Yeah.
Because he got the title shot. Even then, it's not like he was on some crazy run. It's just because it was Yoel. So, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
Let's get Tony out of the octagon. Speaking of old UFC guys and getting out of the octagon, it wasn't exactly a long night for Michael Chiesa. Um,
No.
was that just entirely ring rust, or was Kevin Holland just really that in tune?
I think it was kind of both. I was shocked to see that Kevin Holland submitted him with the
Yes.
dart. That was cool.
Yeah.
But it was a dart
Very,
stroke, right?
very. Yeah, I think so. That
Yeah.
sounds right. But very gangster, like Kevin Holland, like
Yeah. I mean,
the ultimate Kevin Holland move.
yeah, Kevin Holland is real life Batman,
Yes.
basically.
Which is kind of
But
scary because that's also what John Jones was for a minute, and then he, but it is what it is.
listen, that's I don't know why I needed to take that straight, but
But
it's
that wasn't a stray on you. John was stopping criminals, and then he got really into other things.
yeah, but like why bring that up? Why bring that up? John's fighting in a couple months against Stipe. He's gonna defend the heavyweight belt.
Lay
That's
them
what we
both
need.
down. Lay 4 gloves down, please. But
No,
either way,
I'm not defending John Jones's actions. I know they're terrible, but
he's
I
Kanye. He's Michael Jackson.
yeah. That's actually a good comparison. That's a good comp. Like you got to be like kind of closeted about being a fan of his these days. But
Yes.
I'm on a podcast talking about it, so
Who
what
cares?
good is that?
Yeah.
But no, Kevin Holland, I'm excited that he's going to be ranked. Not super excited that he was talking about going back to middleweight, but yeah, I welterweight is definitely the right division for him. I think that's where he can very easily have the most success. But he was talking about going back to middleweight. I hope he doesn't do it because I think he has all the tools to be a top 5 fighter in the division, and he brings it every time. So
I think he just likes the option of bouncing around. I think that's all it
yeah,
really comes down to. I think he's just like, oh, I'll go back here for this fight. Oh, I'll go back over. Just being like the ultimate fix-it man between those two and showing he can still make that weight. So Dana will give him those sweet, sweet late step-in paychecks.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
The guy's fought. He's already fought. This was his second fight this year? Because he
yeah.
fought Wonder Boy, or it was Wonder Boy last year.
No, I don't think so. Here, I'll pull it up. Hold
I think Kevin Holland has fought 3 times in the last year, if I'm not
on.
mistaken.
I was about to say, I think he's fought 3 times in the last 12 months. Obviously, since the beginning of the year, that gets a little sketchy. So Chiesa, Ponzinibbio was April. Wonder Boy was December.
So he's fought 4 times in the last year, actually.
Yes. And he's almost fought 5. Tim
Yeah,
Means was June 18th
yeah.
of
I
22.
mean, that is badass.
That's 5 fights in 13 months and 11 days.
Yeah, badass, dude.
What a monster. He is one of those guys that like I hope casuals figure out pretty soon. You know what I mean? Kind of like
Appreciate him.
yes,
Yeah,
and just like Kevin Holland's on. We got to watch this. This dude's actually cold because he deserves those flowers.
TV. Yeah,
And then the last fight we have on the prelims, or not prelims, but recaps, but it was on the prelims. Bonfim is
made it
exactly what
look
we expected.
so easy. That guy, I think he's gonna be a problem, man. He made it look really easy.
Well, and there's 2 of them. I keep forgetting they're twins.
Yeah.
Like,
Or no, they're not. I don't think
well,
they're
they're
twins. They're
siblings, but they
brothers. They're
look pretty
siblings.
similar, and I think they're like a year apart. So,
Yeah. Well, Gabriel, I think, is the younger one, which is scary.
yeah, yeah. So, but I mean, it was kind of what we expected, if not easier, which is a bit of a nightmare. But hey, man, do what you got to do. All
Yeah.
right. Do we just want to rattle through real quick?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Cool. We got predictions for these we're predicting 2 fights on this upcoming card. But we do have a couple shout outs. Alex, tell them who they are.
Yeah. So our first shout out is we had. Hold on, I totally texted you about the 3 because we have 3 fights that we were like, probably should tune in to watch, but like don't need to.
I went ahead and wrote
Don't
them
need,
down if you want me to hit them with
don't
them.
need to talk about it too much.
Yes.
Billy Q and Damon Jackson is the first one, I think.
Yeah. No,
First
no.
one
Jake
up.
Hadley's right before it.
Okay. All right. So Jake Hadley and Cody Durden are fighting first. That's going to be fun. Hadley's ranked. Durden, I think, took this one on short notice.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Then we got Billy Q and Damon Jackson. If you're not put on to Billy Q yet, that guy is super fun to watch.
And if you're not put on to Billy Q and you're watching this episode right now, I don't know how that's possible because we talk about him every chance we get.
Yeah.
We're a big Q podcast.
Indeed. And Damon Jackson stylistically presents some problems for him. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how he handles that. And then on what's the third fight from the main?
Dustin Jacoby and Zachupu.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Jacoby is a guy who's just outside the rankings. And
I thought he was ranked.
He is ranked?
I thought Dustin
I thought after he lost to Roundtree, he got bounced out. I know he was near the bottom, but these are both guys who are kind of fringe ranked. Jacoby just lost, and Zachuku is on a win streak right now, so that'll be, and it'll be mostly a striking battle, I imagine. So
Dustin Jacoby is number 15.
Okay, he is 15.
just
So
barely ranked. But either way,
okay,
could absolutely make for a little bit of a bump or a little bit of, or like a putting him into the rankings in Nzechukwu's case. All right,
yeah,
so the two fights we've got predicting, the main and co-main. Um, the opener here is one of your Rising Stars picks.
yeah, high stakes for the boy in this co-main event.
Very.
Tatiana Suarez taking on Jessica Andrade, and historically I've been I've sided with Andrade. I think every time she's fought since we started this pod.
Believe
That's
so.
obviously got to change now, and as much as it is how much I like Suarez, a lot of it is also that it looks like Andrade has lost a step a little bit. She's dropped her last two. And Blanchfield, I understand because that was short notice. Blanchfield is at 125 instead of 115. I can't really make any excuses for the Yan Xiaonan fight. And I think this might be the beginning of the end for her. Suarez is still very fight young. She's got a very well-rounded skill set. Um, and I think it's her time now. And this is the first step in that climb towards the title.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Well, it's important to remember that before the 4 year layoff, she was in this region. I mean, you go back and look at her Sherdog, like she was fighting future champions like Carlos Barza and people that are going to be hanging around those belts for a while. She'll look good in a return. Um, Andrade, like you mentioned, kind of on the back foot. I do think it's going to be a pretty competitive fight.
It should be.
So
I'd
than
like for
what
it
I
to
assume
be.
what are the lines at? Do you know?
That is a good question. I will take a look. You keep talking.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I assume this fight is going to be a lot closer than what the lines would say, because I figure Tatiana's probably like minus 250-ish. That sounds like, I mean, that feels like a pretty solid guess to me. Alex will come and tell us here in a minute. But I think we could be in for like a third round kind of fight where it ends, or maybe we can get a decision. But Tatiana, I don't think her O is going just yet. She seems like she's continuing to rise, whereas that's not true for Andrade.
Okay, so Suarez is a big favorite. I'm on FanDuel right now. She is minus 400.
Oh wow, dude! I said she was minus 250.
Yeah,
I was
she's
just
a
like predicting, and I said minus 250. That's insane.
she's a sizable favorite.
See, that's not. I disagree with that. Like that should be like a minus 185, just on respect. 185,
Yeah, because you
200.
gotta you gotta respect what Andrade has done, and it's not like her skills have fallen off.
No,
You
they
know,
haven't disappeared. She's just not
right?
at that speed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But no, we're both riding out with Tatiana there. And then I don't even really want to spend much time on the main.
Yeah, because I think we're gonna be unanimous on this one too. I wish it was Umar. It's
Yes.
no longer. It'll be a fun fight because Rob Font's stepping in, but he's fighting Corey Sandhagen, and we've seen Rob Font struggle with that top tier of bantamweights. I don't think anything changes here. Corey also is just really tough to match up with,
Corey's
just
one of
because of
those
his.
guys that there's about 3 or 4 people in this division that I would feel comfortable even predicting them to beat him. And Rob's just not one of them. I think Corey
Yeah.
goes in there and proves that he is top level and probably even finishes Rob.
I would guess the good thing is Rob does bring it every time, so we could have a fight of the night candidate on our hands. But I would be very surprised if Rob Font got the job done, especially on short notice.
Yeah, it fun fight. Wish we could spend more time on it. Not a fight I perceive being relatively close as far as what the final ending
Yeah,
of it all is.
yeah.
Yeah,
But at least it's happening. At least Corey's in the octagon. You know.
yes, that's very important. And I think I texted you this yesterday. It's a very moments card with a couple good fights that are going to mean something. It's not all that deep of a card. It's stacked weird. Like I don't feel like the
Yeah.
important or the cool fights are close to the top. Like I mean,
No.
Hadley and Billy Q are like pretty early on the prelims. Um, but still a card worth checking out. Still plenty of stuff that will get your blood pumping if you're looking to kill some time on a Saturday, or in the main event's case, something that you absolutely should turn on.
Yeah, the main and co-main must-watch TV. Honestly, the co-main probably, I would say, higher stakes than the main event.
Higher stakes, less guaranteed fun. That
Yeah,
was my pitch there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, not a whole lot going on this week in
One of our
terms of,
shorter episodes.
yeah, in
Probably our
terms of,
shortest episode.
I would say so. I mean, we only had two predictions to make, but we'll have plenty more. I think we have some good fight nights coming up the next 2 months, which is really cool. So, but yeah, that's how it goes.
Easy
But
enough.
that's
You
all
got
I
anything
got.
else?
You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
See you.